To an 18 hour exclusive and India's biggest M&A deal in the healthcare sector between TPG-backed Manipal hospitals and Fortis Healthcare has now hit roadblocks with key minority investors like the big bull Rakesh Jhunjhujnwala crying foul over the deal structure and valuations. But we at 18 hour learned from sources that Manipal promoter, that's Ranjan Pai, is himself in damage control mode and looking to soothe frayed nerves and sweeten the deal terms. Ashwin Mohan, my colleague, joins in with exclusive details. Ashwin, clearly the markets have punished Fortis stock on the day of the announcement that came in that minority shareholders are opposed to this deal going through. What is the strategy now of TPG-led Manipal consortium going ahead?
Good morning, Aisha. The strategy clearly seems to be to in fact get into damage control mode and soothe the frayed nerves of all the minority investors who have in fact expressed concerns regarding the current structure and valuation of the deal. Now, if you recollect, you're right, the markets did punish the stock the day the deal was announced because many minority shareholders felt that they had got a raw deal in terms of the deal structure and the deal valuation. In fact, many analysts also felt that Fortis Hospitals was undervalued. Even the diagnostic business was undervalued. So essentially, the overarching feeling was that the minority shareholders have got a raw deal and that Fortis has been sold at a rate which is not reasonable. But on the other hand, the TPG Manipal combine has defended the entire deal structure, saying that it's a complicated deal with the markets haven't really understood well and that it is in fact a win-win deal for all shareholders. But clearly the pressure has mounted on them, and what I'm given to understand from multiple sources familiar with ongoing negotiations is that Manipal promoter Ranjan Pai is in fact slated to meet all key minority shareholders of Fortis Healthcare today to in fact assuage their concerns around the deal. I'm given to understand from multiple sources that Ranjan Pai is expected to meet Rakesh Jhunjhujnwala, other high net worth investors, and also Yes Bank amongst other minority shareholders today as part of these deal concerns. Now, what sources are telling me is that currently Ranjan Pai and TPG are in fact open to sweetening the deal terms of the Fortis Healthcare Manipal Hospitals deal if shareholders demand it. Shareholders, of course, have been seeking a better valuation, have been seeking a more reasonable deal structure. And I'm given to understand from sources that Ranjan Pai is expected to in fact discuss a revised deal structure and also better valuations as part of these negotiations which he is holding with HNI investors and Yes Bank in India today. Now, what I'm given to understand from sources is that it's not only the domestic investors that Manipal Hospitals and TPG have reached out to. They are telling me that Ranjan Pai and company have also reached out to some of the overseas funds. Remember, there are other players like Eastbridge Capital, there's BlackRock and some other funds in Hong Kong. Those funds, they've also been reached out to regarding discussions on a revised deal structure and valuation. One must keep in mind though that things are very, very fluid at this stage. Nothing has been finalized. So therefore, all these discussions around a proposed or potential deal structure or valuation which has to be revised are currently at a preliminary stage. And also do not forget that there is a solid chunk of shareholders who together hold 40% stake. I'm talking about Yes Bank plus Eastbridge Capital plus a few of the overseas funds. So they hold 40% stake, close to around 40% stake, and their approval is extremely crucial if the deal has to go through, because the EGM is around the corner. The deal was announced on 28th March. So within a stipulated time period, the shareholders have to come on board, and that's the reason why Ranjan Pai and company are in fact reaching out to them and discussing various options at this stage. That's what sources are telling us.
Ashwin, the race for Fortis Healthcare has also seen Malaysia's IHH expressing interest earlier. Any fresh suitors sniffing around for an opportunity, you think, here between the cracks?
Well, Fortis Healthcare, it's been one of the most fascinating M&A mandates because the company's been on the block for the last 2 years. It's received and seen all sorts of, legal hurdles as well as deal hurdles. Other than Manipal, of course, we do have Malaysia's IHH, which had in fact expressed interest in Fortis Healthcare. But clearly, the Manipal team went ahead and announced the deal with the proposed deal structure and valuation. So on one hand, you do have Malaysia's IHH. We're given to understand that Malaysia's IHH is also in fact looking at Delhi-based Medanta Medicity. That's another deal that they are simultaneously pursuing. So all the suitors are keeping their options open at this point of time. But what we're given to understand from deal makers is that Chinese conglomerate Fosun, we're given to understand that Fosun is also in fact eyeing Fortis Healthcare at this point of time, and there are certain informal feelers that might have been sent out. That's what we're given to understand. Keep in mind that Chinese conglomerate Fosun is owned by someone who's called China's Warren Buffett. It's a huge conglomerate, diversified conglomerate. They have a separate pharma vertical, and it's been the stated intent of the management to get into India and to acquire a controlling stake in a hospitality chain.
Okay, great. We'll leave it at that, Ashwin. Thanks so much for those exclusive details. And this is indeed some important critical developments in the ongoing M&A between Fortis as well as Manipal hospitals. Not just that there are other interested parties. It seems that the Manipal hospital's CEO himself, Ranjan Pai, is going to be sweetening the deal perhaps and is going to be meeting the other unnerved HNIs, that's the likes of Rakesh, Jhunjhujnwala, Yes Bank, as well as others.